Hello. Take a moment and just think about time. It's the one thing we all have in common, yet it's arguably the most mysterious and elusive force in the universe. We measure it with clocks and calendars, but what is it, really? We know it as a steady, relentless march forward, tick-tock, a river flowing in a single, unchanging direction. But what if I told you that our perception of this river is a profound illusion, a trick of the mind and the cosmos? What if time isn't a constant at all, but something that can be bent, stretched, and compressed? This isn't just a philosophical question, it's a scientific one, rooted in the very fabric of reality and the intricate workings of our own brains. Today we're going to explore the mind-bending truth about time, from the cosmic scale of black holes to the intimate personal experience of your own consciousness. And we'll discover why some moments feel like an eternity, while others pass in the blink of an eye.
For centuries we took time for granted. It was a simple, fixed quantity, the same for everyone everywhere. It was a backdrop against which all events unfolded, a universal beat for the entire cosmos. Isaac Newton, the great father of classical physics, believed in what he called absolute time, a steady mathematical flow that existed independently of all things in his universe. A second on Earth was a second on Mars, and it was a second a billion light years away. But then came Albert Einstein, and he changed everything. Einstein's theories of relativity, both special and general, shattered the notion of a universal clock. He showed us that time is not separate from space, but is in fact woven together with it into a single four-dimensional fabric called space-time. And this fabric, this canvas of existence, is not flat. It can be curved and stretched by massive objects and by motion. The first part of this revelation came with special relativity. Einstein discovered that time is relative to the observer's motion. The faster you move, the slower time passes for you. This is known as time dilation. And it's not science fiction, it is a fundamental measurable reality. Imagine two identical clocks. You keep one on Earth, and you send the other on a journey aboard a spaceship traveling at a significant fraction of the speed of light. When the traveling clock returns, it will have ticked slower than the one that stayed on Earth. The difference would be minuscule for anything we can build today, but it's there, a testament to the flexibility of time itself. For an astronaut traveling to the moon and back, the effect is barely measurable, just a few microseconds. But for a cosmic traveler moving near light speed, the effects would be profound. They could journey for what felt like a few years to them, only to return to Earth and find that centuries had passed. Their friends, their family, their entire civilization would be gone. This effect isn't just theoretical. It is a constant factor in our daily lives. The GPS satellites that orbit our planet are moving incredibly fast, at thousands of miles per hour. Because of this speed, their clocks run a fraction of a second slower than the clocks on Earth. If we didn't account for this tiny, almost imperceptible time dilation, our GPS navigation would quickly become wildly inaccurate, off by several miles a day. So in a way, every time you use a navigation app, you are experiencing the power of Einstein's genius and the strange, flexible nature of time. But Einstein's vision of time didn't stop there. He went on to develop his general theory of relativity, which revealed an even more staggering truth, that time can also be bent by gravity. The more massive an object is, the more it warps the fabric of space-time around it, and the deeper you are in that gravitational well, the slower time moves. This means that a clock on a mountaintop where gravity is slightly weaker will tick a tiny bit faster than a clock at sea level. The effect is minuscule, of course, but it is real, a gravitational time dilation. And if you took this to an extreme, to an object so massive and dense that it collapses in on itself, you get something truly bizarre. You get a black hole, and at the very edge of its gravitational pull, known as the event horizon, time itself seems to slow to a crawl, and then stop completely. From the perspective of an observer far away, a person falling into a black hole would appear to freeze at the event horizon, their final moments of time stretched out into eternity. Their clock would seem to tick slower and slower, until it eventually appeared to stop. Time, it seems, is not a fixed river after all, but a flowing stream with rapids and stagnant pools, a stream whose pace is dictated by the cosmic forces of gravity and motion. But if physics tells us that time is a fundamental property of the universe, a measurable and tangible dimension, then why do our personal experiences of it feel so subjective? Why does it feel so different from moment to moment? The answer, it turns out, lies not in the stars, but in the most complex organ in the known universe, our own brain. Our minds don't have a single unified clock ticking away in one specific region. Instead, our perception of time is a brilliant, messy, and often deceptive construction, built from the coordinated activity of multiple brain systems. One of the key players in this intricate dance is the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a tiny paired structure in our hypothalamus that acts as our master internal clock. It governs our circadian rhythms, telling us when to sleep and when to wake up. But this biological clock is a very different beast from the clocks on our wrists. It is regulated by light and external cues, and it has nothing to do with how we subjectively feel time passing. For that, we need to look to other parts of the brain, particularly the cerebellum, the basal ganglia, and the prefrontal cortex. The cerebellum, a structure at the back of our brain, is critical for motor coordination, but it also plays a crucial role in judging the duration of very short intervals, a few milliseconds, a few seconds. The basal ganglia, deep within the brain, helps us with more complex timing, like the rhythm of a musical piece or the timing of a speech. But the part of the brain that truly shapes our subjective experience of time, that makes a moment feel long or short, is the prefrontal cortex, the seat of our higher-level thinking, our attention, and our memory. When we are engaged and focused on a task, whether it's playing a video game, having a deep conversation, or creating a piece of art, our brain is active and stimulated. It's collecting a wealth of information and storing it. This state of flow, as it's often called, is a joy for the brain. It's a highly efficient state where our consciousness is completely absorbed. In this state, the brain isn't constantly checking its internal clock. It's so busy processing and engaging that it doesn't dedicate many resources to tracking the passage of time. The result? Time seems to fly by. You look at the clock and you're shocked to discover that hours have passed. On the other hand, when we are bored or disengaged, the opposite happens. The brain isn't receiving much new information to process. It's craving stimulation. In this state, it starts to focus on the one thing that is changing, the relentless passage of time itself. It's almost as if the brain is asking, what's happening? Is anything happening? And because the answer is not much, it becomes hyper-aware of every single second that passes. This is why a boring meeting or a long wait in a doctor's office can feel like an eternity. Our brain is in a kind of feedback loop, where the lack of new information causes it to pay more attention to time, which makes the lack of new information seem even more pronounced, creating a vicious cycle of boredom and what feels like time slowing down. This brings us to a crucial element: memory formation. Our perception of time passing is intimately linked to how many new memories we are creating. When you are a child, every day is filled with new experiences, new sights, new sounds. Your brain is a sponge, absorbing and cataloging a constant flood of novel information. Because you are creating so many new memories, it feels like each day lasts forever. A single summer can feel like an entire lifetime. But as we get older, our lives often become more routine. We go to the same job, we follow the same schedule, we see the same people. There's less novelty to capture. As a result, our brain has fewer new memories to build upon. And when we look back at a week or a month, it feels short because there are fewer significant milestones to mark its passage. The days start to blend together. So when people say that time seems to speed up as you age, what they are really experiencing is a change in the way their brain processes and remembers life. A subtle shift from a flood of new experiences to a comfortable, predictable routine. So we have these two incredible, almost contradictory truths about time. On one hand, physics tells us that time is a malleable dimension, a cosmic river that can be shaped by gravity and motion. On the other hand, our biology tells us that our experience of that river is a construction of our own minds, a subjective feeling that can be bent and warped by our attention, our engagement, and our memories. The truly fascinating part is when these two realities intersect. Consider a moment of intense crisis or danger, a car accident, a sudden fall, a near miss. Many people who experience these events report that time seems to slow down. They can see every detail with astonishing clarity: the shattering glass, the oncoming headlights, the slow arc of a falling object. From their perspective, the event unfolds in slow motion. This isn't a magical ability to bend the laws of physics, it's a biological phenomenon. In moments of extreme stress, the brain is flooded with a neurotransmitter called dopamine, which is a key component of our fight-or-flight response. This massive surge of dopamine and adrenaline causes the brain to process information at an incredibly accelerated rate. It's as if your brain starts running a mental video at a much higher frame rate, capturing and recording every single detail. When the event is over and you replay it in your memory, it feels like it lasted an eternity because your brain created a disproportionately large number of memories for that short period of time. This suggests that our internal clock is not a singular ticking mechanism, but rather a dynamic process influenced by our emotional state, our level of attention, and our brain's ability to process and store information. Our subjective sense of time is, in essence, a narrative that our brain is constantly writing and editing. It's not a direct, real-time log of the universe's passing, but a story we tell ourselves about how quickly or slowly life is unfolding. And this understanding of time has some truly profound implications for how we live our lives. If our experience of time is tied to novelty and engagement, then the key to making life feel longer, to making each day feel more meaningful, is to actively seek out new experiences. It's to embrace novelty, to learn new skills, to travel to new places, and to step out of the comfortable rut of routine. The more we do to stimulate our brains, the more memories we create, and the richer and longer our lives will feel when we look back. We can't stop the relentless march of time from a cosmic perspective, but we can, in a very real way, change our own personal experience of it. We can choose to fill our lives with moments that create a rich tapestry of memories, so that when we reflect on our journey, it feels full and long and extraordinary. So the next time you feel like time is slipping through your fingers, like the days are blurring into weeks and the years are flying by, remember the lessons of physics and of your own brain. Remember that your personal clock is not absolute. It's a masterpiece of biological engineering, and you are the one holding the hands that can bend it. Time is not just something that happens to us. It is something we perceive, something we create, and something we can influence. It is a fundamental force of the universe, and an intricate story written by our own minds.